All right, all right. Hey guys. All right, so this is kind of like an extended version of our Christmas party because that first video was getting so very long. And so if you didn't get a chance to see that, I went live at 6 a.m. And we listed all of the winners of all of the cards and the mystery boxes and all of those things have been given away. And I listed all those winners there. I'm not going to relist them here because it takes a really long time to go through that many winners. Instead, this is the second part where I was doing free card pulls for subscribers. I needed to take a little breather and then pop back in. And so this is the other half of that list of the single card pulls from that first video. All right. So I will timestamp these for everybody at the end of all of this, but this is our list for right now of those that I'm going to be reading for. We have Jessica Rios, Stevette, Dwayne, Veronica, Shirley, Signs and Synchs, EM, Avril, Brad Kraft, Crystal Cape, Helen, Bruce Reed, Tammy D, Sann Moi, Gwen Cusak, Melanie Horton, Simply Rita, Tony Poney, and Andy R. All right, so let me go ahead and jump in. These are just simple one card pulls. Thank you guys so much for being a part of my world. Do remember I'm a fictional storyteller, not a psychic, so bear that in mind. These stories are purely for fun and entertainment, but let's go ahead and see what we get. So Jessica Rios, my dear, let's go ahead and pull a card or two for you. Temperance, so Sagittarian energy. That Sag energy starts out certainly with the energy of balance. We have somebody who, by the way, could be very physically fit or a dancer of some sort or had dance training at one point in their lives or gymnastics. We've got someone who being in like an athletic posture and pose is nothing new to them. That is part of the grace and flexibility. Now, this could represent their spirit, though, as well. The grace and flexibility of spiritual growth. I think the more we grow, it is like the more flexible we become in, the way we see ourselves and the way we see others, and the I'll say, the way we can give understanding and compassion to others. We understand that a little bit better. We understand how to give someone a little bit more grace, is what I would argue. And I think this character has really created space for that. The fact that we've got the Six of Cups, the Six of Cups is an energy of like, okay, I have soulmates in this world, and soulmates are going to play a role in my life, sometimes for lessons, sometimes as colleagues, sometimes as a fair exchange, or sometimes I'm going to be the one who piggybacks them on my back for a while. But there will be an energy exchange. I'm aware of that. I'm welcoming of that. And in my tree of life, you notice how this gigantic tree has branches kind of go in every rich direction. It also says that our character is acknowledging things don't always go the way I thought they were going to. Sometimes a character is in my life and then we kind of separate and go different directions only to course correct and come back around later on. This is a character who is very much at peace, knowing that, yeah, I probably have more than one important person in my life who may be on hiatus right now. I may not be talking to them, but I bet you money I will again someday. And that's going to be just fine. We will work together again. And that could be in the realm of romance as much as friendship. The bottom line is this character is very comfortable with this. Instead of getting angsty and saying, oh my God, but I need them. They're supposed to be here. They're a soulmate. They need to be beside me at all times. It's like, that's not really what a soulmate is. It's someone who I can imagine returning into my life because there will always be a bond there, and there's going to be some energy exchange, and there in this storyline it says that there's more than one. This is a character very comfortable with the fact that I think people come into our lives for seasons and reasons simultaneously. Like that's the statement that character would make. So very much at peace and at ease with the idea that I already know somebody's coming back into my life, and that's going to be good. Probably more than one person will actually come back into my life, and I'll be happy to see them when it does come around. It's actually really cool because this character wants for nothing. They're very comfortable with life. Very beautiful. All right, Jessica, thank you again for being a part of my world. Next up, 440, Stevette. Let's go ahead and pull a card for you, my dear. Ooh, Stevette, we just got two no, excuse me, three. We've got the Five of Cups sideways, the Ace of Swords sideways, and the Six of Cups upright. Six of Cups is a popular card today, regardless of what deck we use, huh? Um, this is a little bit of, I'm not going to say bittersweet exactly. It's that there's a little bit of unknowns here. We have a bird, and the birds are migratory. They're also messengers, and it brings in a feather, which I always think is like a message from the angels. But it's kind of like our character is saying, okay, why am I suddenly having memories and flashbacks of someone? What does this mean? Is this because they're missing me? Or is this a message from the angels where, it's just that time period where it's like I'm supposed to become aware and maybe think back to fond memories and wish them well right now? What is this all about? It feels like our character is questioning, why is somebody coming to my mind? Why are these nostalgic ideas popping into my head right now? What is the purpose of that? And we've got a Seven of Pentacles and we got the higher self. Uh, I think that our character settles on the answer and they go, you know what? If something stays rooted in my memories, because I planted those seeds for a reason, my higher self knows that this is deep and meaningful. I couldn't, I haven't forgotten someone, nor have they forgotten me. That's what this boils down to. It's an acknowledgement that there's a real bond. And if one person is thinking of the other, probably that person is thinking of them as well. Why? Because there's an energy of importance here. There were seeds planted. And although this idea of, just because I'm thinking about somebody doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to suddenly recommunicate right now, it may still take some more time. Heck, this could be a week time. It's Seven of Pentacles, it's 7 weeks, whatever it is. There's something that is growing. And I think it's the acknowledgement that one's higher self knows it. It's like, all right, if somebody keeps popping up into my mind and I'm asking myself, why? What's going on? Are they missing me? What's the message here? It's like our character says, I already know what the message is. My higher self is bonded to something, bonded to a person that I know there's more storyline with this character. I've got that song in my head. Somehow I know we'll meet again. I can't think of who sings it right now. I think there's been multiple versions of it. I'm thinking of like a really old version, probably 1950s, 60s. Is it Ray Charles? I can't remember off the top of my head, but somehow I know we'll meet again. It's a nice bluesy tune, but like a happy bluesy tune. That's what this feels like. Is somebody's like, nah, I already know. I know now why they're popping in my head. It's not for negative reasons. It's because there's more storyline yet to unveil itself. That's actually really sweet. All right, Stevette, thanks again for being here. Dwayne, you are up next, coming in 8 minutes. All right, Dwayne, let's see what we get for you. Thank you again, Dwayne, as always, for all your kindness, all your generosity. All right, Dwayne, what have we got for you? Oh, wow, we got a whole bunch. Okay, so we have a Two of Cups. We have a Ten of Pentacles. We have a Prince of Wands, a Three of Wands, and the Hermit. So we've got a mixture of, how do I say this? It's like we're seeing the scope of a character's entire life. It's like we could write a character's life story and it would be fabulous. It would be one of tremendous, important, like great love story. A love story that has a ton of abundance in it, that has good colleagues and friends, and probably a lot of different opportunities for growth and success and monetary success. This could be, beginning businesses, ending businesses. Like they're very interwoven to relationships in their lives. This is also an adventurer. And this is someone whose life story, as much as the first segments of their life have been more about relationship with other, relationship with tangible abundance, we're seeing them shift into an energy of, yeah, but I want a few other categories of life to be checked off my list as well. I'm in a place where I also have a lot of creative energy, and that creative energy and that passion to do something a little different, a little more, I'll say, maybe spiritual or cerebral, is starting to become the focus for our character. It doesn't mean that they're sacrificing any of these kinds of connections in their life. It means they're adding to it. So this character built connections with others, both spiritual and tangible. They built love connections, both romantic and family based. But that's not all there is for this character. I mean, we would think, well, that's a completely fulfilling life. No, there's more to it for this character. This is a character who was born into this world and they said, I'm going to do it all. I'm going to do everything. I'm going to live as an earthly creature, and I'm also going to pursue life as a spiritual creature. I want to do it all. Right now, they could be very fired up and very interested in exploring some kind of gifts that they have. This could be a character who's looking toward their future and they're saying, you know what? I think I'm a shaman. I think I'm an empath. I think I'm somebody that wants to walk the path of a healer. This is a wounded healer. This is somebody who's following their North Star. The Hermit it doesn't have to be a lonely, silent journey. This is very much a shaman on this card. And the shamans, to my limited knowledge, shamans, connect the energy of all living things. So of plants, of animals, and they work with that energy. They call it in, they gather, the medicine from it. They're like a conduit for like energy that comes from many different living entities. I'll leave it at that. That's a nice broad way to say it. I almost feel like this character is saying, maybe that's exactly why they're capable of this, because they've already had the ability to recognize profound and deep spiritual connections that have romance. They've also been able to have tangible relationships with the people they care about in non-romantic settings. They've kind of mastered the art of love in a lot of different ways. And so now they're kind of transforming that energy of love and that comprehension of love into something else that's up on another higher plane, I'll say, or maybe just a more ethereal plane. This is a character who is very tapped into energetic flow, and they want to explore more of, what does that represent? How is love like a thing that, it's an emotion, but then it can kind of transform us and we can transform others with the power of love. Man, that's a really profound power. So what is the power of love? Maybe it's a power of life. What is the power of life? Well, it's something I want to learn how to work with. That's the way I would describe this character. Maybe I haven't described it very well, but it's a very evolved character is the best way I could say this. It's very much from a higher perspective. This is not an easy one for me to explain, other than this is a character who has a very expanded mindset, and working with energy for them is something that's as natural as breathing. And so they keep kind of wanting to challenge themselves to take it to the next level and the next level and the next level of comprehension. Very cool energy on that. Dwayne, thanks again for being here. All right, next up, Veronica coming in at 1309. All right, Veronica, let's go ahead and pull a card or two for you, my dear. Let's go with this one. I haven't used this deck yet. Hold on, it's tea time. All right, Veronica, my dear, here we go. What have we got? We've got a High Priestess upright. We do have a Ten of Cups in the reverse, a Three of Wands in the reverse, and a Temperance in the reverse. Well, first off, a High Priestess says, I know it. I know what's going on. They know that someone is not happy. Someone's all kinds of out of sorts, and it's in the present energy. It's like they're picking up on somebody to put it simply, they're very much aware that somebody's missing the heck out of them. Somebody is feeling like they lost their Ten of Cups. A character is feeling like none of this sits right with them. This is not what they wanted. They missed out on an opportunity that they really, truly wanted. And the High Priestess sits here and says, yeah, I know you're sorry about that one. Yep. I feel it. I feel your disappointment. I feel that upset. I can feel it. I know. 10 of Wands. And not to be mean-spirited, but I feel like our lead character is saying, I'm glad that you messed this one up. That takes the burden off of me and it leaves it right at your doorstep. It's not my burden to carry. But I'm glad that even if you haven't said anything out loud, I know that that, yeah, This is something that is your burden to carry, not mine. I don't have any regrets. I do feel it though coming off of you in some waves here. You know that you missed out on me. I mean, that's what this message looks like to me. As I always say, I'm a fictional storyteller, not a psychic, so do bear that in mind. But this high priestess knows that someone has an awful lot of regrets. Queen of Swords in the reverse. I'm guessing that it's that somebody trespassed on her boundaries. And it's like, you know better than to do that. You know what you did. I know what you did. We all know what happened here. And so what happens when you trespass? Well, there are consequences. So you're very much aware of it. And I'm glad that you're aware of it. Maybe that'll make you a better person on down the road. Maybe you won't do things like that again. But at this point in time, I'm not feeling bad for you. Guilt is a good emotion sometimes. It helps people grow. It helps them realize I don't want to do that again because it cost me something beautiful. It cost me a relationship. It cost me somebody that I cared about. And I think in this case, again, not to be mean-spirited, but it's kind of like, yeah, you learned something there, didn't you? Hey, tough lesson for them, but a lesson nonetheless. Next up, we got Shirley coming in at 1604. All right, Shirley, my dear, let's go with this deck for you. I haven't used this one yet. Oops. Hang on, I got a deck falling down. Let's put that one over there. Okay, here we go. Shirley, thank you so much for being here, darling. We have got a Queen of Wands in the reverse. Okay, hold on. Queen of Wands in the reverse. What she got to tell us? Queen of Wands in the reverse with the High Priestess in the reverse. A Five of Wands upright and a Temperance upright. I gotta say, it almost looks like our character is saying, I get it. I get the fact that we have a Queen of Wands, possibly a fire sign, does not have to be. We also have, like, our lead character is coming across as a Sag. There's someone who has made peace with the fact that I get it. I know why somebody argues with me, fights with me, pushes back all the time, is always in competition with me. It's because they don't really have the level of confidence. So when a Queen of Wands goes in the reverse, instead of being the confident, amazing person that they are, they start to doubt their worth. They start to doubt their power. And with that in mind, that's pretty tough. It can make someone act out in that karmic way where their behavior's not the best. It's not super awesome. And that becomes a bit of an issue, but it becomes very revealing only because our character is able to step back from a higher perspective and say, okay, where's this behavior coming from? Why is somebody, because this can be catty behavior. If this is a feminine, doesn't have to be masculine or feminine. We still have somebody who basically, it's their self-worth has been the biggest thing impacted with a Queen of Wands in the reverse. So they start to feel not good enough. And that in turn makes them like jealous and competitive. High Priestess in the reverse says this has been very revealed. I mean, sometimes when it's this revealed, it could be that a Queen of Wands actually says it, like, I don't feel good enough. And that, like, oh, wow, I get it now. That's why you've been upset. That's why you've been moody, or that's why you've been competitive. The only thing is our lead character, although they can totally understand this, I think they're also understanding, well, I can't give them self-confidence. That's a personal thing, but it's like it's making our character think about them, analyze it, and go, okay, what would be helpful? How can I mean, this could be somebody who's like a competitive individual in the workplace, or, a family member, or even a sibling, or a child even, like when teens are kind of acting out and they're just not feeling good about themselves. And so they're just frustrated with the world, and, they're just behaving kind of like, oh my God, I love my kid, but right now I just don't like them very much. And it's like, oh, I get it. Okay. They're not comfortable in their own skin right now. So they're acting out because they don't feel safe, secure, and valuable right now. So how do I help them? And I feel like our character is really contemplating it, and they're saying, how can I help them? Well, by understanding. Temperance card is being able to walk in somebody else's shoes, being able to comprehend it, not feeling the need to, like, wow, I feel attacked, and also not feeling the need to really fix it for them, but just be like, I know. I know what that feels like. I've been there too. Like we'll all walk through that at some point where we just don't feel good enough and then we react. I think that thankfully our character has this amazing presence of mind to be able to see it and comprehend it and not hold it against this character and certainly not internalize it and make it their issue. That's really nice to see somebody who's not letting it become an overwhelming thing for themselves. Um, but yeah, it's tough to deal with somebody when they're in jealous mode, and frustrated mode with their own life and their own, physical self at that moment. But this character does a really nice job with it. All right, my dear, thank you again for being here. Signs and Synchs, I'm still pulling a couple more cards for you, darling. Coming in at 2020, excuse me, 33. 2033. Okay. Signs and Synchs, let's see what we got here. We've got Sacred Masculine. Sacred Masculine is the Emperor. This is a calm, powerful, and Sacred Feminine. We've got an Emperor and an Empress, and we've got an Ace of Pentacles. Is this the most beautiful? This is a perfect power couple in their most powerful elements. It doesn't have to be man and woman, but masculine, feminine. So the yin yang energy, the sun and the moon energy, complementary and powerful, balanced energy. This is well, the simplest way I would say it is we have a character who is either, I don't think this is restarting a relationship. I think that this is a character who maybe for the first time has found someone that matches them this beautifully. I think of the Ace of Pentacles as starting something new, but it could represent the start of like a new era. This doesn't mean like, oh, today. This means like there will look back at some point in time and go, man, I realize now I met someone, they were calm, they were nice, they were friendly, they were someone that I liked. And then as I got to know them more, it evolved into this kind of a relationship. And now I can have that hindsight and I look back and I go, that was the beginning of a different era of my life, a different interaction, a different calm and power and comfort zone that I had with someone. And it's now I realize it's because that was my masculine or that was my divine feminine that I had met. My point is sometimes this is the new beginning happens without us realizing it, especially when we're dealing with two such calm and powerful individuals. It may not come with, what do I want to say? Trumpets blaring and butterflies in the tummy. It's instead this slow, steady progress where one day we go, oh my God, this is amazing. This has been a new era of my life, a new kind of relationship. And I didn't even realize how stable and secure this has become because it was built one tiny thing at a time, one little piece of scaffolding at a time. I would argue this is one of the nicest kinds of energies to see because it isn't fireworks. It isn't volatile. It's slow and steady and almost sneaks up on you until you realize just what kind of amazing thing you're holding in your hands. And it's like, I can't even believe what an incredible interaction this is. What an incredible person I'm facing. They grew on me and now I realize it's because they were matching my highest energy with theirs. I like the fact, and the real reason I'm saying all of it this way is because this Ace of Pentacles is not being handed down by the hand of the divine. It's growing upward and almost occluded by the all the greenery around it. That's why I feel like it's a friendship that evolves into like, oh my God, this is an amazing person. This isn't just a friend. This is the kind of person I want for the rest of my life. But I didn't start out with the idea of dating. I didn't start out with the idea of this must be a divine masculine or divine feminine. I must love them. That's not the way it began. It was so much more organic than that. Super nice, super sweet energy on that. All right. Anyway, next up, let's go to EM coming in at 2435. All right. EM, let's pull a card for you and see what we got. We've got the King of Wands in the upright. King of Wands in the upright is everything it looks like. It's somebody warm-hearted, loving. We got a Two of Swords, and we got a Queen of Wands. Okay, warm-hearted, loving. But we have this perfectly matched pair. And even with the warm-hearted and loving energy, we have blockage between the two of them. I got to do one more. What is the blockage? The Two of Swords is like neither person realizes how the other one sees them. Is this two people who have, Six of Swords? Okay. They haven't met yet. These two, or they have met, but they're like, damn, that person. I'd like to get to know that person, but I can't yet. I cannot talk to them yet until I smooth out something else in my life. Well, guess what? The Queen is in the exact same energy. It's like, damn, I'd like to talk to that guy. But I can't. I can't until I smooth out something else in my life. This could be two characters that, although they come across as single in this, single, independent, action-taking, decision-making individuals, still, they're mature enough to say, unless my life is conducive to me being able to spend time with somebody that I already am interested in, I'm not going to prematurely begin something if I don't have the time to invest, or if I have something else that's a little bit difficult in my life right now. I've got to take care of business first. This could be like two characters that are in separation but haven't formally ended a relationship, but their hearts are closed off. Their hearts are definitely clean and clear and single. But just because our heart is single doesn't mean, our financial entanglements are severed. Like one person could still be leaving a former commitment. The other person could be like, wrapping up a cycle where it's like, I'm sorry, I got to get through the holidays first. I'm traveling. I've got family coming. I've got this, I've got that. I cannot start dating somebody. It's too many moving parts. But damn, I'd like to get to know them just as soon as life calms down a little bit. This is a lovely energy of just allowing things to blossom. When they have enough time to devote to this. Right now, I think it's a smoldering, like, I see you, but I can't take action toward you just yet. But man, I'm thinking about you. I think they both know the other one's thinking about each other, but they're not taking action yet. And with good reason. It's just to make sure that things can go in a nice, smooth direction. That's how I would argue that. And I think it comes across as pretty wise for these two, the fact that they're making sure they don't rush stuff. All right, next up, Avril, coming in at 2719. Avril, let's go ahead and get a card or two for you. We got Eight of Wands. That is action of, well, literally it is action. It's, it's speaking, it's communication, it's taking action. And then we've got Six of Swords, and we have King of Wands. Okay, so we have a decisive character here. It's funny because this almost feels like a bit of the story that I just did in the previous couple card pulls. But we've got possibly a King of Wands who is, they're actually ready to speak up a little prematurely. Like they want to, you notice how he's got like a javelin or a spear that he wants to chuck, is about ready to throw that message out there and say, hey, listen, I am doing this thing in my life. I am closing out a cycle. I'm closing a chapter, and I'm moving forward into a calm space. And I'm going to be, when my little ship docks and I get off that little ship, I'm going to be a full-blown King of Wands. I'm making choices like a king. I am leaving behind troubled waters, and I am landing on the shore as a completely available, heartfelt king. Will you be there to greet me when my little ship docks? It feels like somebody is sending a message to say, hey, this is what's going on. They've made a confident decision. They're sending out a message that tells our lead character, this is what I'm doing. I am leaving behind a choppy situation to come into a place of calm because I have like a chest full of love to offer. We even see that there's a nervousness. I feel like they're nervously awaiting, like, okay, what's someone's answer going to be? Are they going to say yes to me? Are they going to want to talk to me? Is it, what's their response going to be? It does feel a little bit nerve-wracking for them, but the fact that they're writing a message to say, I'm confidently making this choice. Here's my heart. Will you be there to collect it when it lands on the shores? Oh, it's kind of sweet. It's kind of sweet energy on that one. All right, my dear, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you so much for being here. Brad Craft coming in at 29 42. I see delays in the timing on this. There have been so many glitches lately, so forgive me if the timing is not completely perfect. Bradcraft, we have got an 8 of Wands in the reverse, and we have a 4 of Wands upright. There is a lot of joy to look forward to, a lot of balance, a lot of almost like a perfect life, the perfect career path, the perfectly balanced, like having enough work life balance, having everything flow really smoothly, a good relationship, a good romance, good friendships, all of this 4 of Wands life is very much possible. Right now, with that 8 of Wands in the reverse, it just says if a character has a plan for this, to keep it to themselves a little bit, because they're laying the foundation for this, like, putting in the effort. And it's like, I don't know how to say it other than to suggest that, when we talk about all of our hopes, wishes, dreams, and plans, sometimes it's like we spend all that energy pushing it out into the universe instead of like just continuing to work on that plan. And so an idea simply becomes like something that by saying it out loud, it's like it almost drifts away, because we put it out there and now we don't put the physical energy into making it. And this kind of hints that we have a character who is saying, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to talk about what my big plans are, because death card, because I'm in the middle of making it happen. I'm in the middle of a transformation. I'm in the middle of an energetic upgrade. I'm in the middle of, like, really, you notice how all of this is made out of wood, right? And we see a forest, and it's kind of like a wintertime scape. This might be a really great time for our character to be laying those plans, those foundations. Most of these are like walking sticks and things that have been whittled, but we also see a living forest behind it. It's almost like this is the time to take the raw elements that are available to us, and in these like winter months, to like really whittle things down, to carve things into the shape of the fabulous life that we are planning on having. And it's really cool because this is the metaphor for how someone's life is changing. They're going through like a spiritual upgrade. Maybe they're becoming like a master manifester. And so it's all of their hopes, wishes, and dreams are taking more and more shape, but they're not spending time talking about it. Instead, they're spending more time like really manifesting it. And I think this is like somebody could literally be working on their personal skills. Like if they want to learn a particular skill because they want to get a particular job, they might be using this time to really hone that skill, learn more about that job industry. They're getting prepared to have their 4 of Wands life, their 4 of Wands job, but they're doing the foundational work right now. And so they're not wasting a lot of time talking about it because they're too busy working on it. But it's all about the current state of like energetic upgrade that our character is going through, energetic change that they're going through, and they're making tangible change in their life as well. But that's the whole point. It's actually like energy that they're putting into things, not just mental energy of saying it. They're actually working on things. So it's really fun because it's a time of great transformation, but it's all happening just a little bit. It's more realistic than just fantasy aspect, which is really cool. All right, I'm going to leave that there. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Crystal Cape. Can't read my own writing. Coming in at 3338. All right, Crystal, here we go. Let's get a card or two for you. We have got a death card here as well. Scorpio energy. There's massive change. I love cards of change. Change, growth, and that area of change and growth is Queen of Coins, 4 of Swords. Oh my gosh. I would argue that someone has gone through like a shedding of the old skin, and they have come out not only healed, they have come out a beautiful version, in this case as a Queen of Pentacles. This is somebody grounded, giving, stable, somebody who has so much abundance, and they know it, and they have enough abundance that they can say, you know what I learned? I learned the best way to create more abundance is to invest in the things that I need as well. This is someone who learned not to overgive their abundance and keep depleting their own stores. Like what I'm picturing right now is a gardener who knows that, when you garden, you also have to feed the soil, and feeding the soil can be a lot of different things. Sometimes you at the end of a season, you cut some things and just leave them right there so they decay right there on the ground that you'll plant in next year. It's using or composted materials to feed the soil again. We always have to give back to the very soil that is providing for us. And in this case, the soil is her. And she goes, yeah, I've learned that I need to give myself time and space to rest. It is, I, this is a card of service oftentimes. And a Queen of Pentacles can tend to want to serve others. But what they did, which is ingenious, is they put themselves on the list of people that they need to give to. So it doesn't mean they have to stop being a giver, because maybe they couldn't break that attitude if they wanted to. But they instead said, okay, how do I do this better then? Oh, I know. I'll add myself to the list of people that I want to give to. Oh yeah, that totally works. So now what am I going to give to myself? I'm going to give myself space to rest. I'm going to give myself time to nurture me. I'm going to give myself, like the ability to say, hey, when I need quiet and I need space, I'm allowed to have that without feeling guilty. Um, I think this is the major change that our character has gone through. They learned how to give to themselves. That's huge, 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 is what I would argue. And so, like, I would say sustainable. Like, this is a character who can now sustain their life a little bit better because they made space in their life for their own ability to thrive. That's how I would say that. Anyway, my dear, thank you for being here. Next up is Helen. Helen, you are coming in at 36, 34. All right, Helen, here we go. We've got a Knight of Swords, and we've got the Devil in the reverse. So this is somebody running from the devil and saying, done with that. Nope, devil can't catch me. You can't catch something you can't see. I'm not around. I don't need to deal with the devil stuff. Not because I'm scared of it, but because why would I stick around in something toxic? I'm outie. I get a red flag, I'm gone. Doesn't matter. I don't need to stick around. I've learned that the devil doesn't change. So instead I have to change, which means if I see it and I go, I don't like that, I step to the side. No thanks. Devil, you can go find somebody else to bother, not me. Like, that's what this looks like. Like a character who's just, look at this, Ace of Wands and the Tower. I have to say, I think that our character's action could surprise somebody. And it could even be that our character themselves is a little bit like shook. They're like, oh my God, did I just do that? That freaking worked. I'm not in the clutches of something toxic. I didn't let my mind go that route, or I intentionally recalibrated and shifted my thought process to the stuff I do want, the things that I do care about. I chose to manifest the best instead of, like, this could be a mindset, right? The devil can sometimes be our own fears, our negative self-talk. Our character might have said, nope, I'm catching myself before I start ragging on me. And they're like, how do I avoid doing that? Oh, that's right. I tell myself the things I like about me, the excitement that I have, the power that I have within me, the goals and hopes and wishes and dreams that I'm pursuing for my life. And it's like, wow, that totally freed me from that mindset. So I love the Tower card. The Tower is all about breaking free of confining thoughts, breaking free of anything that is, how do I want to say, restricting. I think our character just discovered their true strength. They discover that they have the power to reshape the way they think about themselves. They have the power to fight the devil off. They have the power to not get stuck in negative thought processes. And I think it's like, oh my God, I've done it. I've become a master manifester. I honestly didn't know it was that easy. You mean all I have to do is not let negative thoughts like get in my head and crush my confidence? Well, this is way easier than I thought. I just freaking crushed the devil. I got out of the clutches of the devil. Now, this could also be about a romantic situation or, dealing with somebody else. This is a character who said, no, I'm not going to deal with toxic stuff. I see it and I move away from it. I go toward only the things that I really care about, the people that are passionate about me. It is definitely like it's the choice to break away from an old pattern and not entertain an old pattern of behavior. I'm not saying it has to be breaking away from a person that a character already knew, but it is definitely breaking away from an old pattern, and that is making a much happier future possible. We do have Aries and Capricorn in that as well. I just like seeing the change, like no devil energy in this at all. It's it's such a refreshing, like uplifting energy to see that absence there. That's really nice. All right, my dear, thank you again for being here. Next up, we've got Bruce Reed coming in at 4029. All right, Bruce Reed, here we go. Bruce Reed. We have got the King of Swords and we got the Ten of Wands in the reverse. So Libra, Gemini, Aquarius energy moving forward with a completely like calm spirit, calm mind, cleansed energy, not lugging around burdens, not lugging around, a satchel full of dirty laundry that's like unresolved issues that were ours or someone else's. This is a King of Swords who is free and clear and mind, particularly in thought, so mind and speech. Seven of Cups, Ace of Swords, Strength card. This is looking more like a character who has simply said, you know what I realize? I got nothing holding me back. I'm not feeling compelled to do anything out of a feeling of guilt. I owe nobody any apologies. I'm not carrying around, like I've forgiven myself for any trespasses I have made. I've also forgiven others. Life's too short to have a bunch of like miserable Klingons, like the Klingon energy of negativity and guilt and the stuff that kind of like erodes or wears us down. This is a character who says, no, I'm all right. You know what? I maybe didn't always choose the perfect, options in life, but I made peace with them. It was a part of who I was. And now today, this is who I am. I live in the present, not in the past. And I'm good. Like, I like who I am. I'm okay with who I have become. This is somebody who's unapologetically themselves, and they're looking at their life now as just I'll say a buffet of possibilities. And the only thing they have to do is, so what is it that I want? What do I want to do next? Because the choice is entirely mine. This is a very, how do I say it? This is a character who believes that they are in charge of their choices. They're very much in charge of their own life, the way they're going to do things. And with the Strength card, it's like all I have to do is choose the thing that I want to do. Well, the thing that I want to do could require a little bit of extra courage. Do I have that courage? Hell yeah, this character surely does. They know this about themselves. They're all fired up. Whatever this character is going to do, it's something kind of brave. It's something they want to do. They're in their suit of armor, so they're ready for this. They're also staring right at it, but they're very calm and peaceful about it. But I think when they ask themselves, what is it that I want to do next? I'll own it, whatever this is. What is it that I want to do next? I want to go after a wish. And I say that because we've got the little dandelion wish puffers that are flying up here in the sky. I would argue that maybe it's a Leo that they want to go talk to. Maybe it's someone who they view as a partner of equal strength, someone who's part of their wolf pack. It could be somebody that they view as like a healer. But this is a character who is ready. The sword, again, can be about, thought and communication. So it could be someone that they say, I want to take action with the dragonfly. It's something I've dreamt about doing. I'm going to go ahead and do it. This is a character who's they're not fearful, to have this element of strength to them and for them to think about what they really want to do and why they want to do it. It is talking to someone. That's what it looks like to me. I think there's someone that they want to go ahead and communicate with, someone who they are feeling like, hey, I'm good enough to talk to anybody. There's nothing about me that is somehow like, oh, I shouldn't approach that person. What do you mean? All people are equal. We all have equal right to speak to each other. And I like the confidence of this character, the fact that they realize that there is no such thing as like, oh, they're maybe above me, so I can't talk to them. This character does not hold with any of that silliness. And that's really nice. It's really strong. That might all be thanks to the fact that they don't carry around any old wounds and scars. They've learned, nah, I know what I'm worth. I'm worth what everybody is worth. We're all equal. So we all have equal opportunity to communicate. I mean, if we both want to, right? But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to approach whomever it is that I want to communicate to. This may not be anything to do with like romance. It could be about a job. It could be because lots of times that King of Swords I think of as like somebody who has an interest or a hobby, or they have a skill set. They could be pursuing a career. They could be like a freelancer who wants to present their skill set to someone. It could be more job related, less in the realm of romance. But it does look like they might be, it could also be an area of study or something that they'd like to like, present themselves and say, hey, I'd like to apply for this program or something. But it looks like they're pretty darn confident about why not? I feel like doing it. I'm going to do it. Good for them. All right, Bruce, thanks for being here. Tammy D, you are coming in next at 4554. All right, Tammy D, here we go. Tammy D, we've got a King of Wands in the upright. That's a warm energy. Okay, we're going to take them, but these did come out as a little cluster. And I kind of like things to come out more one at a time, but that's just, and they all sat together. I don't care if multiples come out, but I like them to spread out, but these ones all stayed in a cluster. So we're going to read them as such. We've got a Page of Cups. We got an Ace of Swords. We got a Hanged Man, Piscean energy, and we got Virgo with the Hermit. So it's interesting because we got this King of Wands separate to this. So I'm going to say that this is like, this is either the King of Wands from my perspective where these cards would lay out. The King of Wands, this would be behind their back. Okay. I know when I show it to you, it's mirrored image, but I would see it like this. So what's going on behind the King of Wands back is a Page of Cups, the Ace of Swords, the Hanged Man, and the Hermit. It's almost like somebody is thinking a great deal about the King of Wands. Like, gosh, I've been thinking and thinking, should I go ahead and communicate? Should I go ahead and speak a truth? Should I go ahead and make an offer? Should I go ahead and tell somebody I'm sorry? Should I give them, like what's going on in my mind? I'm thinking and thinking and thinking about it and waiting and delaying about doing this. But I don't think that the King of Wands knows this. Now, keep in mind, I don't read for genders in these fictional stories. That could be a masculine or a feminine. But right now, the King of Wands is our lead character. Our King of Wands is over here thinking about a Four of Wands. They're kind of even fantasizing. You notice how it's like they're imagining looking into this portal and they're imagining someone who they feel very drawn to. So it kind of, to me, I'm starting to look at this like are two characters thinking the same things about each other, but they don't know it. Let me go back over here to our other character, the one who's been contemplating, should I do this? Four of Cups, 10 of Wands, 2 of Swords, again with the kind of like stressed out, indecisive, feeling regret kind of energy. So to me, this looks very much like we have somebody who is very loving, who is sitting here still holding good emotions for a person that they feel is their perfect match. Meanwhile, on the other side of the equation, we have somebody who's thinking, I really want to say sorry. I really regret something that happened with this king. I really would like to talk to them. I'm nervous about it. Have I messed things up here? Let me go back over to the king's side real quick just to say 10 of Swords. This is two characters that I think are thinking about the same things. They are feeling like, man, I thought that was going to be a Four of Wands, but I guess it's over. They don't have hard feelings, though. They still think of this as like that the dream would have been for this to work out, even though currently they think it's over. I gotta say, if in this storyline, if two people are thinking that heavily about each other, I just hope that the individual who keeps wishing, like, it's a mistake, I wish I had done something different. Hopefully they'll make a move, because it kind of looks like two characters are both wishing for the same thing somehow. I mean, unless this is two completely separate situations and that King of Wands is sitting there going, man, I feel like well, I guess a situation is over for me. And maybe they don't even know that this other character is like feeling all this stress and anxiety, like, God, should I reach out to them? Should I say something? I really want to, but sometimes it's a procrastination because it's like they just barely got single. I know that that King of Wands is single again. Do I reach out though, or I don't want to rush it, but I also don't want to miss a chance. There's like tentative energy in this story. Let me just get one last. We got the Tower in the reverse. I'm just going to say this: if somebody doesn't want something to be over, then maybe they need to still ask themselves, why don't they want it to be over? Or maybe they need to just admit that and then go ahead and say, hey, listen, I got to be honest. I don't want this to be over yet. And I wanted to reach out to you and say something. Do you feel the same way or not? It kind of feels like the air needs to be cleared. That's the way I would say it. Doesn't mean these two are getting back together. It just means maybe there's the essence of, God, it'd be nice to clear the air so that we would know where this whole thing stands. Is it really over? If there's unfinished business, let's end it nicely so there's none of that tension still in the air and regret. All right, I'm going to leave that one there. Thank you for being here, Tammy. Sann Moi. Let's go ahead and jump on into one for you. It is 51 minutes on the mark. Here we go. Sann Moi. What is the message? We've got a 7 of Wands. We got the Death card, and we got the 7 of Cups. Ooh, 7-7. Both cards of change sandwiched around. The meaty little middle of this sandwich is the Death card. So Scorpio energy, we've got change, change, change. It's not a surprise that a character doesn't quite know what to expect next because they're in a state of flux. It would be like, my mother trying to decide how tall I was going to be when I was 4. It's like maybe I'm starting to go through a growth spurt, but who knows where it'll stop? Well, it didn't stop till I was 6 feet tall. So my growth spurt was pretty big. She probably wouldn't have projected me to be 6 feet. I'm the tallest of the girls. And, it's like some things you can't, she couldn't have predicted what size shoes I was going to need. So she couldn't have bought me shoes for my adult size foot when I was 4. Sometimes we just can't see how it's all going to go yet. We know that we're in a state of flux, or maybe this character didn't know they were in a state of like upgrade and change right now, that they're in a growth spurt. It could have been confusing. Like, I don't get it. What's going on? It feels like there are certain struggles. It feels like something needs to change, but I don't know what it is. This almost says things are already changing. So we can't really make a ton of plans right now because change is still underway. What popped into my head, especially with the combo of these cards, is if we've ever been out of cell service and it's like, okay, I didn't know I was going to take a detour on this road and now I have no cell service, and I also don't know what's going on at the location that I'm headed to. Maybe it's some party or reunion and it's like, okay, is everybody there? Did the party change locations? Well, I'm still in transit. I don't have any cell service even if I pull over. So what choice do I have other than to keep driving, follow the detours, follow the directions, get to the location, and then see what happens. Right now, it's like our character doesn't have any hard and fast answers, but it's because things are still in a state of flux. But the only thing that they can do right now is go with that flow, let the change occur, embrace it, and then figure everything out once the change is fully complete. And then we get to kind of like put life in order again. So it's kind of exciting because it kind of says it's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay to not have all the answers because we're still in a state of transformation. And then the joyful part is then we'll start to make some decisions after some of the transformation has kind of like revealed itself. And we're like, okay, this feels a little more stable. Let me start organizing information. Oh, I've got cell service again. Now I can reach out and I can call whoever I need to and check in and, get stuff organized again. But it's kind of, sometimes it's a relief to just say, well, there's not much more I can do right now other than ride it out. And I think that's what that message is. Thank you so much for being here, Sann. All right, Gwen Cusak coming in at 32. 5432. All right, Gwen, let's get a card or two for you. I always say one, and then I keep having more than one because I can't see a story unless I can see enough cards most times. We got the 9 of Pentacles, but it's in the reverse. We got the 5 of Cups upright. And we got the World card in the reverse. This is a stagnant energy of somebody that is unhappy because they feel locked out. They feel locked out of the castle of abundance. And they're out here kind of crying, but you notice they're not walking up and rapping on the door and asking if they can come back in. They're not knocking on the door and saying, hey, I'm sorry, I messed some stuff up. I knocked down some cups. So their sadness kind of seems like it's a little bit self-inflicted because granted, we could say, well, let's have some compassion. This person doesn't really feel good enough. They don't feel confident enough to go knock on that door. So they're hanging around outside going, I want to go back in that beautiful castle. I want to go to the castle. But there's no way I can make myself walk up and knock on the door. The only thing is they're lingering in this, I'm not taking action. I see what I want to do, but I don't feel confident enough to do it. So now it's just kind of a prolonged stasis instead of like making change. How can we help this character? Because this character is like, I would argue they probably have some serious regrets for some mistakes that they made. Page of Swords. Yeah, it's time that they look and learn. It's time that they gather information about the situation, right? How did I get here? What did I do? What did my actions do to create this scenario? How did I do this? Why did I do this? They need to first understand their own actions first, is what this suggests. Are they going to do that? Is this character going to, and again, we see them kind of outside the castle walls, out there in amongst the greenery. It's maybe this person needs some time out in nature. They need some time to just be alone with their own actions. 7 of Swords and the Hermit. Well, they're not going to admit. They run from stuff. This character runs from stuff. Remember, this is a fictional story, so please don't think I'm ragging on someone in real life, but this is just the fictional story. Is what we've got is possibly a divine masculine who they got to ask themselves the deeper question, why am I lying to myself about this? Oh, because I'm running from me. Maybe I don't like what I would see if I paused long enough to look inside of me. So I've been doing everything but that. But that, unfortunately, is also the only way that they're going to be able to find understanding and then course correct their actions. It's the one place they didn't want to look was inside, though. Because then they'd have to face fears. They'd have to face, maybe they were a saboteur. Maybe they don't always tell truth. Maybe they try to bolster up courage that they don't have. But, pretending things doesn't usually end up very good, because at some point when we pretend and then we're found out, that's when you get kicked out of the castle, just like somebody who gets, they put together this amazing resume and they get hired for this job, but they don't actually have any of the skills. It's going to become obvious at some point, possibly pretty swiftly, that, wait a second, you don't even know how to, drive a semi truck. You don't have a, whatever that Class C driver's license is, or was it whatever it is. I don't know. I don't drive trucks, but you would not want to see me back up a truck. I suck at it. I'll do it, but I suck. I feel like this character lied on their resume, but their resume of life or love or whatever it was. And they have to look at, why did they do that? Why didn't they just come forward with the resume that they actually had and be chosen for who they are, warts and all? I think this character has been afraid to really look at themselves, but they keep hovering around, wanting back in the castle, but nothing is opening up those castle gates until they do some work on themselves. So they're probably going to be hanging around outside there for quite a while until they decide to finally say, okay, let me look at my actions. Let me ask myself the hard questions. Let me do the work. Otherwise, I don't think they're coming back in the castle. All right, Gwen, I'm going to leave that there. Thanks for being here. Next up, Melanie Horton, coming in at 5911. All right, Melanie Horton, here we go. Melanie, I feel like this deck. Oh my gosh, I should have put on socks. My feet are freezing. All right, Melanie, here we go. Got the world in the reverse, Capricorn energy. This is it's an interesting one though, because this world kind of shows us there can be distance. It's a time of like storing things up. It's a time of preparing for a new beginning. In this case, I I don't know if there's a delay in having a new beginning, or if the it hasn't begun yet. The separation phase, the distance phase, something hasn't begun just yet. We've got an Ace of Swords, and the Ace of Swords can be used like like a sword is used to cleave something, to cut something off, to separate something. Right now, I'm thinking this is about separating thoughts in one's mind, just because this is so heavily associated with that. He has a nautilus shell for a head. It's kind of like the um, like the mysteries of the universe. He wears the galaxy coat. We have truth. I feel like someone is in this place where they're saying, I'm I haven't yet identified truthfully what I already know to be true. We have a 9 of Wands and we have a 2 of Wands. Again, there's this element of choice, distance, the choice of two different paths, longing for something that a character feels is out of their grasp, when in fact they hold everything that they need in their hands. But they're a wounded warrior. And I think that the biggest message here is that we have a character who has not yet identified all of those truths within themselves yet. They have everything that they need. They have every ability to do everything that they want, everything that they desire. They already have a ton of power that they're kind of dismissing, overlooking, not realizing how much worth, how much value they have, still feeling much more like a wounded warrior instead of realizing there's still a rose on this. Oh, and of course, I'm gonna that song is in my head. Every rose has its thorns. Every cowboy has a sad song. I don't know. I'm thinking all kinds of awesome like 80s rock music right now, classic rock. Um, I I just think that our character does not know quite how powerful they are. They keep thinking, if only I was a little more this, if only I could be that. They don't realize they already are that. They already are powerful. Anyone who can endure what a warrior has endured to get to the 9 of Wands says this person is a survivor. This person is someone who is not giving themselves nearly enough credit for how strong they are, how powerful they are, how much they've already come through. And the fact that like most most people, most warriors couldn't have handled as much as they have. So if they're perpetually thinking, yeah, but I'm just not that strong, I'm just not that good, it's like, are you kidding me? Look what you've already done. It's like they are the last to know how incredible they actually are. They keep thinking that their success is further down the road, not realizing they already are sitting on a house full of success, that they already hold power in their hands. They don't have to wish to become better than who they are. They're freaking fantastic. They're just the last person to get that memo. I really like this one because it's like, to me, it looks so obvious. And it's like, I want to kind of be that person who taps on this character's shoulders and be like, excuse me, your awesomeness is showing. Like, you didn't realize it, but like you realize it's blinding the rest of us. It's kind of cute only because this character needs a friend to like take him by the shoulders and be like, let me put you in front of the mirror. Like, observe, behold, this is you. This is what we look at every day. You just haven't noticed that you're amazing, that you're handsome, that you're beautiful, that you're talented, but we all know it. So let's introduce you to yourself. I know it's kind of a sweet message on that. All right, next up, Simply Rita. You are coming in at 103.58. All right, Simply Rita, let's see what we got here, darling. Simply Rita, we have got oneness in the reverse, 7 of Pentacles upright. Okay, so something's being worked on. The fact that we don't have the oneness card upright, because we couple it with this, doesn't even matter, right? We're moving toward it. We're moving toward unity. We're moving, and this could be like somebody is working on connecting, like the royal, like me, myself, and I, right? The royal we. They are in the process of developing the life that they want to live. So they feel very much at one with their life purpose, their soul purpose. They're enjoying this process though. This is somebody who's like, um, it could be a character who says, I know that I would like to move into the country, start a farm, and, turn it into some sustainable, living, this or that, and write a cookbook about all of the food that I grow. And they're like, okay, phase one is I want to learn more about farming. Maybe I can't move yet outside of city limits and get to a farm, but maybe I can start doing a community garden space. Maybe I can take some gardening classes. Maybe I can take some cooking classes. I'm already starting this journey and I'm compiling the components and I'm building my dream into a reality. Has it all come together yet? No, but that's the whole point. A seven of pentacles is the time that we invest to then get to the harvest. And this is a character who is like, they already have amazing plans. Seven is a divine number too. So I'm going to say this is somebody who's on their life path. Look at this. And Six of Swords. Part of their life path is to develop the life and the skills and the qualities that they really want to develop in themselves. So they feel very much in harmony with themselves. All of this is a character's quest toward greater satisfaction, harmony, peace, and calm in their lives. Very nice, very soothing energy. I really like seeing that. The fact that, and we did see a lot of like outdoorsy, naturey energy in that, which is super sweet. Just because, well, maybe because I'm an earth muffin myself. So I'm like, oh, I like that. But that just felt really, it felt good. It felt calming. It felt soothing. And it felt like a place to expand. Very nice. All right, next up, Tony Pony. Let's get you going. We got 106.25. All right, Tony Pony. You know what? I don't want that deck for you. I think I want this deck. I only read this deck in the upright, and there's two meanings on each card already. Got a Knight of Coins going to a Queen of Coins. Got the Page of Coins going to the Knight of Coins. Lot of work involved here, but it's the kind of work that really makes a developmental change. We can see we're in the same building in both places. But the fact that we have a character, I feel like they've been working on something slowly but surely. They've mastered it. And now we see them taking that skill set and building upon it. We see them starting a second endeavor. This could be somebody who's developing a side hustle that's like a branch very similar to their first choice, but then this is a side hustle. And it's like, why not? If they've already developed one skill, like I'm thinking of it like a highly translatable skill. I would argue somebody that does like web design, graphic stuff. If they're really good at one kind of graphic design, they might, be able to translate that. And now they can, work making apps or something, or they might be able to work on like computer graphics for computer games, things like that. It's a translatable skill. They've mastered one thing and then they go, okay, I'm going to take this, I'm going to run with it, and I'm going to start another side hustle. This all does feel like it's work related things, but we have a 3 of Cups going to a 4 of Cups. This is like a character who is saying, I kind of regret that I didn't maybe already pursue something like this. I don't know if this character is saying, man, I should have done that. I should have been further ahead. If only I had, like used this skill set that I had and translated it a little bit earlier. I could have, caught the tail end of some huge trend. 4 of Swords going to the 5 of Swords. I think it's a good thing that they didn't. I think our character maybe had a little bit of downtime somewhere in the midst of this. And what they don't know is when they had a little bit of lag time. This could even be somebody that was rocking it in the workforce. Then things stopped for a while in the workforce, which it pretty much did for all of us for a while back there. And now that it's restarted, they're kind of like, dang, like maybe they've even changed careers or something, changed jobs. They're working with a different group of people. And this doesn't have to be work, for monetary gain. This could be like, oh, I had this, group of friends. We used to go out and do, whatever. I'm thinking of like everything from like bingo to pickleball. And then I didn't stick with it. Now a lot of the group has separated and now we're starting a new group, but it's just not quite the same. Maybe it's because I had an injury, maybe I had to heal from it. The bottom line is that was a protective mechanism because our character could have gotten all tangled up in chaos. There could have been arguing, there could have been fighting, there could have been problems. If this is about work related stuff, this could be a character who's like, man, I so wish that I had, like I said, rode that tail of whatever was popular when I could have, because I could have made so much money on this side hustle. This actually says, no, if they couldn't do it then, if they couldn't get invested then, they probably were being protected by the higher powers, because there could have been a huge amount of conflict and even loss of finances had they gotten into this back then. This is basically saying there's no point in having a regret. We're where we're supposed to be because that's where we are. The timing, who knows what would have been, what could have been. There's no point in looking at that. Instead, it's so awesome that our character has so much to work with, so much value, so many talents. As long as we've got all these pentacles, there's never going to be an end to what this character can develop and grow and produce. So they didn't miss opportunities, especially this card says they were protected from what could have been a lot of fallout, a lot of stress. So whatever their perception of like, man, everything could have been better if only I hadn't, had to have some downtime, or if only I didn't have that like break in my flow. And this says, nah, that break in the flow was protective. We got lucky on that one. All right, my dear. Last but not least, Andy R. All right, Andy, let's see, coming in at 1:11:35. Andy, here we go. Let's get a card or two for you, my dear. Thank you, everybody, so much for being a part of my world. We've got a 7 of Swords in the upright. And so we got somebody who's hiding out. They're watching. They're looking into the light, but they want to stay in the shadow. They don't want to admit that that's what they want to do, but that's what they're doing. Worries me a wee little bit. 5 of Swords. Oh, this is somebody who's a lot of divine masculine energy that is hiding out, that is still keeping stuff at bay. They don't really want to be seen, but they want to watch. They don't want somebody approaching them. Okay, then this is it's almost like what I want to say is then go ahead, darling. Do what you need to do. 5 of Swords. It feels like our character is so sad for them. Like, God, why do you do that? But 5s and 7s are both cards of change. They're numbers of change. So everything needs to change here. Maybe we could say, well, yikes, why are they behaving this way? But the other thing is maybe our character needs to change their sorrow for this person, because to send this, definitely needs to change. 10 of Swords and get it replaced by a 9 of Cups. Easier said than done, I know, but if a character is being made very sad by someone who's keeping everyone at bay, they don't want to come into the light, they want to stay in their shadow, it's a weird energy, because it's like, I want to stare at the light. I want to stare at somebody who stands in the beautiful light and in truth, but I'm not going to join them in that, and I want to keep them away from me, but I'm really drawn to them, but I just can't open up. Meanwhile, our character is sad for them and for themselves, perhaps, because like, God, why does it have to be like this? But all of this says that's all wasted energy. As much as they're wasting energy, so is our character who's feeling sad for them and even sad for themselves, because it's like, actually, this is not a fun person to deal with. They have to put an end to some behavior in their life and choose happiness. In this case, our character has to put an end to the thing that's making themselves unhappy, which is perhaps thinking about like, why is this cat over here constantly choosing the shadow side instead of the light? Wouldn't it be easier not to fight something beautiful? But if she's making herself unhappy, she too could benefit from saying, okay, wait a minute, let me not cry tears for them or for me over this potential missed opportunity, because right now it's not a missed opportunity, because ain't nobody want to play with somebody who's holding swords at them all the time. So there isn't, honestly, this person's a colossal jerk at the moment. Maybe I wish they weren't a colossal jerk. Maybe I care about them, but they are a colossal jerk right now. I'm not crying because I want the colossal jerk back. What I want is them to be different. But if they're not, then I'm not missing out on anything. Keep your colossal jerk energy over there and go fix yourself. It's kind of like choosing to say, look, I'm going to be happy. I don't know what y'all are doing over there, deciding to stay in shadow and lie and be all stressy. There's no point in doing that. Like, life is good. Life is a freaking blessing. When you're ready to come play and have a good time, awesome. Until then, I'm just going to lead by example and show you what a good life looks like. Instead of being sad and getting pulled into your colossal jerk energy and letting it hurt me and make me feel sad, heck no. I'm going to live it up. If you want to watch me in my light, let me show you just how bright I shine. Let me show you just how much light I really sit in. I sit in the light of love, the light of happiness, loving my life, having a great time. Maybe that will set a better tone for this person. Instead of her like getting sucked into their vortex of negativity, she's like, look, I know that you're paying attention to me. So if anything, let me live my best life. And if my light just keeps getting brighter and brighter, that'll do one of two things. They'll either finally say, God, I can't help it. Her pull is so incredible. I have to go toward it. Or she illuminates even more of my life to where I finally am choosing to not stay in the shadows anymore. I'm finally putting down my swords and I want to have a good time with her too. Or they'll say, oh, I'm so not going to step out of the shadows. And they retreat further and they just leave her alone altogether. It's one or the other that could happen, but it's all about choice. And I think this whole storyline is about the choice. I think she's going to choose to be living her very best and brightest and most incredible life and lead by example. That there's really no fun in hanging out in the shadows. There never is. There's no fun to be had in being sad or being sad over someone else's choices. Then it's like we are stuck in their vortex of shadow, and that is so not her. I really like the fact that she's choosing something totally different for herself and that happiness is there, putting an end to being trapped in a vortex of shadow and just moving toward happiness. I think that's a really strong message. All right, my dear, thank you so much for being here. Lots of love to you. Thank you, everybody. As I always say, I'm a fictional storyteller. If you do enjoy the channel, you do enjoy the fictional stories, awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out. Merry Christmas to everybody. I always like to do my Christmas party way early in December just because it gives me time to send out prizes and stuff before Christmas ever comes. So thank you, everybody. And we'll do this again next year. And in the meantime, also, if you didn't already know, in the description box, you'll find a link to my other channel. And that is Regretless Life with Aries. I also have a second title for that channel, Tarot Dog. But I'm doing a different giveaway, some different stuff on that channel. So there's a link that'll take you to that video and over to that channel. All right, you guys, take care. Bye.